You started playing chess online and you loved it, but you struggled reaching 1000 level. Well, don't worry, because in this video I'm going to teach you all you need to know in order to reach 1000 level on chess.com. I'm going to play two games, one with white and one with black, in order to help you understand better what you have to do in order to beat these players. Alright. So, the first thing you need to know and you need to do is to control the center. So we are in the opening. The opening obviously is important, but I would say the middle game is even more important. But obviously you need to know how to start and what you have to do. So how do you take control of the center? Obviously with the pawn, you usually push the e pawn or the d pawn, as he did this time he pushed the d pawn, but usually you can also push the e pawn and play e4 instead of on d4. Now e4 and d4 lead to different position, but that is not really the important thing. If you want to reach 1000 level, you don't need to know theory. Theory is not important at all. What you need to know, though, are the basic rules in the opening that you need to follow, which are controlling the center, as I'm going to do, and as I already did. Not going to play e5 because I lose a pawn, but after you control the center, you have to develop minor pieces. Now, minor pieces are the knight and the bishop. So, after you take control of the center with the pawn, so usually the first move is pushing the pawn. After you do that, you move the knight or the bishop, and after you do that, there is the third rule you need to follow, which is to castling as soon as possible. So I develop this knight, I develop this bishop, and I castle short. In some position you can castle long, but usually it's better to castle short because it's quicker. So now I can push this pawn and develop my bishop, which is my plan. Although before doing that, I could also develop my bishop on f5. So after I move this pawn, at least my bishop it is outside of the chain. Although it's not the most important thing. I don't feel like a 1000 will know that. Although it's not so hard to understand. But I'm just going to play really simple, so you know that you can beat players just by following these rules. It's really simple, actually. So I develop this knight, I want to develop this bishop to castle short. How can you castle? You can castle when there is no piece between the king and the rook. So as you see, I developed the knight and the bishop, so now I can castle. In order to castle is only a move in which you move two pieces. The king has to go two squares to the rook, so 1 and 2, and the rook just go on the other side of the king. So 2 squares, the rook is on the left, the rook goes on the right. So as you see, this is pretty simple. Why you should castle? You should castle because after you castle, your king is much safer. You shouldn't have the king in the center, because if you have the king in the center, your opponent is going to open the center and destroy you, because there are all the checks, all the pins, and you're going to lose a lot of pieces. So if you can castle, just castle, and castle as soon as possible. Now, as I said, I have to keep developing minor pieces. So not the rook, not the queen. I just want to play really simple. I have to develop minor pieces. So the knight or the bishop. Now, in this position, you never play knight on c6 if there is a pawn on c7, because you want to push this pawn in the future to take more space. And this is a thing that pretty much everyone knows. So you play knight on d2 in order to push this pawn in the future. And how can I develop this bishop? I mean, just push this pawn b6 and play bishop b7. And after I developed all my minor pieces, I can move the queen and connect the rooks. So when I have the chance to do that, I'm going to show you. The last rule you need to know is that you can attack your opponent, but only after you have developed all your pieces. Don't attack before that. That's important. No one does that at this level, but if you understand the concept, you're going to win all your games. Now, My opponent just blundered the pawn because the knight is attacked 2 times and only defended 1. At this level, if you want to win, when I say you just need to follow the basic rules, I'm not lying, it's true, because your opponent is going to display himself, because he's going to blunder everything. You just follow these rules, you win material, and you win. It's quite simple, actually. So, you push this pawn, I can take, he take with the bishop, I guess, because if he take with the rook, I mean, he loses the rook. Can take with the bishop, I take the queen, he has to take the queen back, and he loses a piece. As you see, they're going to declare themselves. You just need to play logical moves and you win. So, take, and I win a piece. Pretty simple, isn't it? Now he can sack the bishop, although I still win a piece. So as you see, there is nothing complicated. Now I go there and see. We could actually have played rook on e1 again, and then I would have defended the knight, although after f3, after I play f5, you wouldn't want the bishop back. But maybe I had some... No, because I have this check. So yeah, I was up a clear piece. Now, there is no way I'm going to lose this piece, and I'm happy. I'm up a piece, life is good. Now, where do I put the knight? I'm up a piece. And now I need to be focused. Because I know you, I know me, when I'm up on material, I'm less focused. This is important though. If you lose your focus, your concentration, you're going to lose the game because you're going to blunder. So, if you want to be serious about the game, about chess, you have to keep your focus. Keep your concentration. So, you don't need to do anything complicated. You can just go back. Knight on f6. This bishop is not going to be lost, even if you push the pawn. I play bishop on d6, am I safe? And I still have material. Now I play this, hanging this pawn. You see? He's destroying himself. I'm not winning the game, he's winning the game for me. I didn't even attack. He just blundered everything, every move. Yeah, now, I mean... The best move is to take with the pawn. Because if I take with the bishop, he can block it. But after that, he's going to lose the rook. I mean, he can develop the knight. Yeah, this was over. So, let's find a game with white. Yeah, we're right. My opponent is rated 1000. So, it's even better. Again, I take space, you see? I'm an e4 player. If you want to play d4, it's perfectly fine. It leads to different position. And when you will get better, you will choose between d4 and d4. I mean, now it makes absolutely no difference. Positions are going to be different, but you're not going to win based on the position. Although, what can I say is that if you play e4, the position is going to be more open. So, there is another chance that you're going to play some tactics, you're going to win with some tactics. If you play d4, the game is going to be closed, so you have to be good positionally speaking. It's just a preference, it's not that something is better. So the pawn is hanging. This is theory, it's not that he's losing the pawn, but I feel like it's logical to take the pawn. The pawn was hanging. Yeah, this is theory, now we take back. And whatever. Or he doesn't. But now I'm up a pawn. Because I can defend the pawn. Remember, develop minor pieces. I can defend the pawn playing d3. I develop minor pieces instead of defending the pawn. Pretty simple. Now, develop minor pieces again. This pin is annoying, so I could play bishop on e2. Do I want to play it? Yeah, I want to play bishop on e2. So, I develop minor pieces. There is no piece between the king and the rook, so I can castle, and after I castle, I keep developing minor pieces. And after I do that, I move the queen, connect the rooks, and I win. I just wait for my opponent to display himself. As you see, we just started and I'm up a pawn. Did I attack? No. Did I have a complicated plan? No, my plan is just to castle and play logical moves. So you just need that. Castle. Easy. What can I do? I want to develop all minor pieces. I just need these to be developed. So I can play d3 and flank to the bishop, or play a logical move such pawn on d3, which protects everything, and then I can develop the bishop on this diagonal. Now, he has the king in the center, and this is important. I'm following rules, he's not. So he has the king in the center, which means he's going to lose pretty fast. If I take this pawn, the line opens, so I can put a rook in order to attack the king. And as you're going to see, it's going to be a really strong move with me. So I take this in order to open the position. Alright, I can take this, and he has the queen on the center, although I can play rook on e1 first, which looks more logical, because if I take the knight and he takes with the queen and I play rook on e1, he's going to castle long, and I don't want to give him castle long. So yeah, rook on e1, easy. Why? Because I'm attacking the king. What did I say? Develop minor pieces first. Let's do. But if the king is in the center and you can attack it with the rook, I don't see why you shouldn't. But apart from that, if the king is not in the center, you don't need to put the rook on e1, so you develop the bishop first. Now, if he takes, I'm probably going to take with the b pawn, because if I take with the d pawn with the queens, which is a thing I don't want. Why? Because he has the king in the center, and if with the queens, I have less attacking potential, but I need more attacking power. So, what can I do? I can move the bishop to put pressure on his and see what happens. So let's try with this move that pins the knight, pins the bishop because there is a king behind it, and if he castle, which is the best move obviously, because otherwise he's going to get destroyed, I'm going to play d4 or d3, develop the bishop, develop the queen, connecting rooks, and then attack. Remember, attack only after you have developed all your pieces. Simple stuff. Do you need to think? Not even. Yeah, and now I can take with check in order to ruin his daughter. I don't know if this is advanced, but you take with check. So I think a 1000 player could see this. Although, let's say he doesn't. And I take with the b pawn obviously because I don't play queens and I can play d4 defended by the c3 pawn. Now it's not even we check, I feel like everyone is going to see it. So, do I really want to take the knight though? Because he's not such a strong piece. And as I said, you should develop minor pieces first. So why not to play d4 taking space, which is also important, and then develop the bishop? I don't see anything wrong with this. So yeah, d4. d4, develop the bishop, and see. I'm not even going to take this knight, because as I said, you can just take space and develop minor pieces first. So, don't even need to do that. And also not sure if taking the knight is the best move, because my bishop could be much stronger if I put my bishop on the d. Yeah, bishop on the d. Now, 1000 play, were they taking the knight? Yeah, I'm quite sure. Although, if I take the knight, or if I play bishop on the 3, in every case I'm much better, so that is not the winning condition. Alright, this move is not explainable. Honestly. I don't know what that does. Don't play this. So, if you undevelop your piece, you just put your piece on the starting square. Well, you still have to develop your pieces because you still have to move the queen somewhere and connect the rooks. Do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing? I feel like that makes absolutely no sense, even for a 200 player, and I can't really understand this move. No, I'm not trying to be rude. I'm really surprised by this move. That makes absolutely no sense. So I'm going to develop the bishop, and I mean this blunders the bishop. So you can choose between bishop on e3 and bishop on f4, although on e3 blocks the rook, so bishop on f4 looks logical. After that, I probably move the queen, although I have to be careful because he can take the knight. I place the rook where I want and I win. I still didn't even start an attack. Although probably I'm going to do that pretty soon. But before doing that, I just develop all my pieces, as I said. Yeah, this move is still a waste of time. You should really develop your pieces instead of undeveloping them. So rook b1, attack this pawn. It's an easy move. Putting my pieces on decent squares. Yeah, now let's see. h3. Alright, now it's time to attack. Now I developed everything. Yeah, I need to move the queen, but if I move the queen, it's going to take damaging the structure and my king is wide open. That's the problem, and I don't want to get mated or to be in trouble. So I'm going to play h3 followed by g4. Yeah. So he has to move the bishop, and after that I can move the queen and start a serious attack. Let's put it this way. And what can I do? This is set a trap if I play queen on e2 because it's going to take the pawn, but I win a piece. Although setting trap, if they are not the best move, trap shouldn't be played, because if I played queen on e2, it could also play rook on e8. But after that I have queen on e4, which makes sense, although followed by this. So I don't feel like that is the best move. The pawn is under attack, so I could think pretty logically and play a4. Now a4 I don't feel like it's... I mean, it's not a beginner move, but it's not even an advanced. If you take this pawn, his pawn structure is really bad, he's going to lose every pawn he has. So maybe he can push, but after that he loses a pawn, or the best move is actually to do nothing, and I mean, this pawn is not weak now because I can take, or I can still wait. That's it. Now I really should try to do something with my queen though. So I should connect rooks, as I said. So queen on d2. I don't want to put the queen on the e file because it's an open file for the rooks, so it's going to be a target. Rooks are connected, which means that there is nothing between the rooks. This rook defend this rook, and this rook defend the rook. As simple as that. Did I start an attack yet? No. I'm much better, yes. So now I need to win than to attack him. But usually you don't even need to win this way. Usually you win because they display themselves, but this guy is not playing so bad. Except for knight on b8, which was the weirdest move I have seen. So what can I do? The knight is under attack. Double rooks is obviously a nice and common way to attack your opponent, and I don't see why I shouldn't do that. So if I play rook on e3, I can play rook on e1, and also rook on e3 defends the knight. So that makes a lot of sense. If I move the knight this way, I'm going to get forked. So, I mean, if I play knight on h2 is just a bad knight, so if he wants to play the bishop, which is a really good piece, for this knight, I'm more than fine. So, double rooks, put pressure and start an attack finally. This is my plan, it's pretty simple, nothing complicated. Everyone can do that. And if you understand the concept, you're going to reach 1000 in a second. You see? Design a bishop. Did I even attack? No. No. It's so simple. They destroy themselves. I win a piece. Targeting the knight. He can't win this pawn because, I mean, he can win the pawn, but then I take the knight. So I'm up a piece. This pawn is not hanging. Life is good, and they resigned. So I think that's it. So I'm not going to show you the analysis for the simple reason. You don't need to know how to beat a 3000 rated player. You need to beat a 1000 rated player. So I think I can teach you better the Stockfish. In this case, Stockfish is too advanced for us. So that's it for today. I hope you learned something. If you want to ask me something, just ask that in the comments and I'm going to answer you. So see you in the next video.